This bag of candy represents the biggest movie marketing mistake in history. This doesn't look like a disaster. It looks like a vending machine snack more than anything. But in 1982, this little bag was the center of all boardroom discussions, and it cost a company millions of dollars of free advertising and cultural immortality. They were offered the deal of a lifetime by Steven Spielberg. The data said yes, the opportunity was massive, and yet the smartest executive in the room looked at the opportunity, looked at the brand, and said,
"No."
They made that decision because he looked ugly. They read the scene where their candy will be featured, and they look at the character who will be eating it. They saw a wrinkled, brown, frightening creature. Their internal logic was sound. Alien equals scary. Scary equals bad for brand. They wanted to protect their image. So Mars Incorporated passes on the movie. The production team, desperate and out of time, went to the competition. They approached Hershey's with a product that was currently failing, Reese's Pieces. Hershey's didn't have the data Mars had. They didn't have the leverage. They just said yes. When the movie was released, M&M sales remained flat. But Reese's Pieces sales didn't just improve, it tripled.
Theater owners, because in its first 2 months, E.T. has been worth $130 million at the box office. And this man is happy too. He distributes candy. Where's the connection? Well, you have to go back to one part of the movie. Remember the scene in which young Elliot lures E.T. back to his house by dropping pieces of candy on the ground? Those pieces of candy were these, Reese's Pieces. And almost overnight, they've become sort of the unofficial junk food of the Extra-Terrestrial. But he's not the only one who likes them. Spurred by the movie, sales are going crazy.
Well, the sales of Reese's Pieces increased twofold. They just have gone sky high.
A 300% increase, effectively saving the brand from discontinuation. The company that tried to protect its image lost the market. The company that associated itself with the monster became an icon. This shouldn't work, and yet, it did. If you ask a marketing professor why this happened, they will give you a standard answer: product placement. The theory goes like this. You see the candy on a giant movie screen. The exposure creates familiarity. Familiarity breeds sales. It's a simple equation. Input, eyeballs, output, revenue. It's a comforting explanation because it feels controllable. It suggests that if you just pay enough money to be seen, people will want you. It suggests that attention is something you can buy, but nice stories don't always survive reality. If exposure was the secret, then every brand in a blockbuster movie would see a 300% spike. But they don't. When you see James Bond check out his watch and it's Omega,
It's an expensive watches. Rolex.
Amiga.
or a Marvel hero hold a specific phone, or even just drink Coke, do you feel an urge to buy it? Or do you just roll your eyes and say, they're trying to sell me something? Psychologists calls this persuasion knowledge. The moment you realize someone is trying to sell you something, your brain puts up a shield. You filter it out. You treat the product like scenery. Mars Inc. was already famous. Everyone knew who M&M was. More exposure wouldn't have changed the math. That's when I realized something was off. This wasn't about seeing the candy. It was about how the candy If we look closer at the film, we find two psychological triggers that Mars missed completely. First, look at the utility. Elliot doesn't eat the candy. He never looks at the camera and smiles. He uses the candy as a tool. It is the bridge between a human boy and an alien intelligence. This is called active integration. The product wasn't a prop. It was a character. Without the candy, the story stops. The audience didn't perceive an ad. They perceived a solution to a problem. Second, look at the emotion. Mars rejected the alien because he looked ugly. They were judging the static image, but the brain doesn't stare at static images. It stores feelings. When the audience watched the scene, they were looking at a monster. They were feeling empathy, curiosity, and love. The brain took those warm chemicals and physically attached them to the orange candy. We didn't crave sugar. We craved the friendship we saw on screen. This reveals a strange paradox about influence. Mars Inc. applied maximum effort. They analyzed, they strategized, they protected. They tried to force the outcome by controlling the variable, and they failed. Hershey's applied zero effort. They didn't demand a script change. They didn't ask the alien to be cuter. They simply allowed the product to be part of the messy story. We think the most valuable things are the ones we admire. But the truth is, the most valuable things are the ones we build. That's why you love your baby more than any baby out there, because you build that baby. Psychologists call this the IKEA Effect. You can buy a perfect table from a high-end furniture store. It's flawless, it's beautiful, it's seamless, but you will never love it as much as the cheap dresser you bought and built yourself. Why? Because you struggled with it. You figured out the instructions on your own. You put your own sweat into the screws. The moment you invested your own energy into something, that object ceased to be just furniture. It became part of your story. This is where Mars got it wrong. Mars wanted to be the perfect table. They wanted to be a pristine brand that you simply looked at and admired from a distance. Reese's Pieces didn't ask to be admired. They asked to be used. Reese's wasn't just present. It was the tool that Elliot used to build trust. By watching that, the audience felt like they were helping build that friendship too. There is a massive difference between a great brand and a cult legend. Great brands are endorsers. They stand next to you and say, "Look at me," and they tell you a story. But true legends like PewDiePie, MrBeast, and Casey Neistat, they don't just tell you a story, they make you a part of their story. We didn't just watch them exist, we watched them struggle, we watched them figure it out. We were there when the camera was blurry, we were there when the audio was bad. We feel a sense of ownership over their success. And that's what we're doing here inside the By Mind. Because in a way, we helped build it. We are the ones who assembled the furniture. If you want to build a following, a true By Mind, stop trying to be the finished product. We spend so much of our lives acting like the Mars executives. We wait until we are perfect before we show up. We hide the cracks, we hide the struggle. But perfection is passive. Perfection is boring. If you want people to fight for you, you have to let them in. Don't just stand in front of them as a hero. Hand them the tool. Show them the messy parts. Let them see the instructions while you're figuring it out. Mars wanted an audience. Hershey's built a partnership. One is a transaction, the other is a journey. Don't just make them watch the movie. Make them part of the crew that gets the hero home.